Are we good to go? I think that they might have been having trouble at the Women Entrepreneurs office, but hopefully you'll be able to hear me okay. If you can just let me know if you're having any problems hearing me, that would be great through the chat box. But I think hopefully we can just get started and everything, all the technical difficulties will be worked out. So I am a technology entrepreneur and I'm also a communications person. Um, Thanks so much for letting me know the sound is good. Thank you. So I've been doing a lot of technology really since the beginning of my career. I started off in nonprofit organizations and working in people with and talking to people about learning styles and helping adults learn to read. I moved into film and television for a period of time, and while I was there, I also started to discover the beauty of social media and all the exciting things and the ways that you can communicate with a really wide audience using that digital technology. So I was doing a lot of social media strategy for companies in the very early days before Twitter was even a thing, and a lot of my job at that time was just explaining to people that there's opportunities online to be making money. Now Twitter everybody uses, but at that time it was so new and a big job. My job was educating people. So for a period of time, I started a company called OneStory.com. Now that company is no longer going, and I'm now consulting. But it was very interesting. It was a technology startup that helped people basically create and share video interviews. And so we had people using us from all over the world, 36 different countries. We had people using us, like United Nations Women, who was using us to capture stories of men standing up for women's rights in Albania. A lot of really cool ways that people were using the technology. But one of the biggest things I learned while I was there and the CEO of the company was that it takes a lot of energy to make something big happen, but it doesn't have to be your energy. Technology companies have been using each other's products to really emphasize and enhance what they're doing. You often hear about, companies that have, 5 people, 10 people working for them and having hundreds of thousands of users. And so some of those things are built in house and technology tools that are built in house, but a lot of those are actually using third party services. So it's something where, as I'm talking to, if you want to start writing in the chat box, what's drawing you here? Because I'd like to answer some people's specific questions too. I'm going to be talking today, and I don't have any slides. I'm actually going to take you to the websites of some of these technologies. I'm going to start in the area of social media and how you can automate your social media in a way that you're not having to spend an hour or two every day trying to use that marketing tool, or you can help your staff be able to use it a lot more effectively. And I'm guessing that most people in their businesses are using social media, so that's something that I think will appeal to all of you. Some of the other things I just kind of picked were, employee scheduling, how you can be doing that. There's a lot of big companies that are still using pen and paper to have people put in their hours. And, there's a lot of ways of doing that. It can save you a lot of time and money. And then the other one that I picked is just sort of a fun thing that I haven't tried yet, but I'm interested to hear if anyone else has. And it's just this idea of automated scheduling and scheduling of meetings. I think a ton of time is spent going back and forth, like, hey, I think we should meet. How do these 3 dates for you work for you? And someone comes back, well, that doesn't work. And, and kind of going back and forth over a couple of days sometimes, just trying to schedule a meeting. And so, there's a couple technology tools that I've seen out there that look really interesting to me. So I just want to share those with you, and we can talk together about whether you think it'll be effective or not. So I got a comment here. I'm looking to set up a blog and post that will go on both Facebook and LinkedIn at the same time. So technical and strategy tips are hopeful takeaways. That's great. And Lynn, one of it's a really important thing that you just said was not only are we going to be talking about the tools, but also how do you pick content and try to automate that content sharing, because there's kind of 2 parts to any of your technology plans. The first is, how do you implement? Like, what is the strategy? What tools are you using to get it out there? Are you just using Facebook, or are you using a program that sends things to Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn all at once? And then the second part is the content. If you're just putting out blah stuff, you're not going to have that much engagement. And so there's really almost no point in doing it in some ways if you're not going to have that much engagement. The point of all of this is to get your message out there, to represent your company and your brand, and to do it as smoothly as possible. And these tools can help you. So keep sending some of your comments in about what you're hoping to take away from this. I'll try to reference them as I'm going, but also at the end, I'll just answer some specific questions. So I'm going to lower the webinar page for myself and actually just jump right into the social media components. And hopefully you can see my screen, and I'll let the women entrepreneurs jump in if there's any technical issues that I'm missing because the webinar piece is down. All right. So the very first thing I want to talk about is social media marketing and some of the tools that you can be using for this. Now, it's really important, one of the things that social media is so important because it's the way that a lot of companies are looking for you. They're, checking Twitter or complaining on Twitter. They're, going to Facebook, or they're seeing your stuff being shared on Facebook, and therefore they're, more likely to use your services. But it is time consuming. Like, you can spend hours looking for content and hours posting it. And I've actually, there's whole employment area of community management for people, where basically that's all you do is look for content, share it, and watch for comments. So for some of the bigger companies. So how do you do this when you're a smaller company and really find something that's cost effective and can just save you time? So one of the first tools that a lot of people go to very first is called Hootsuite. And the nice thing about Hootsuite, and I'm just going to go here to the free plan, is that you can actually set up for free. Give that a try first. They have a lot of trainings, and basically all you do is you can set up a whole bunch of posts, like sit down on your Sunday evening or Monday morning or whatever works for you with your schedule, and spend an hour just putting in a bunch of posts for your entire week. And they can actually set it up so that it goes out through your social media. Hootsuite does it through Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram. I think even Pinterest they post through. So they've really set up. And the other cool thing is they're a Canadian company too. And so they have just thousands, or hundreds of thousands, maybe millions of users. And basically, you can also look at your analytics, how many people click through, and so you can actually see what that engagement is. And it looks like they give you up to 3 social profiles on your free service. If you want to go to the pro, which is one step up, I think it's $6 a month, and that's pretty manageable. And let's see here. Oh, the business, it just says request a demo, but it's really a reasonable cost for the amount. I believe it's $6 or $7 a month. So and that means that you can add a whole lot of extra things, like if you want to do LinkedIn, Blogger, all that kind of thing. I'm just going to pop up this other screen again just to make sure there aren't any extra questions. Okay, we're good. So Hootsuite's one of those ones that is it's a good service to, and basically once you're in there, they have a lot of training. They have really good service if you want to be if you want to be asking questions as you're setting it up, and you set any one of those streams up of your social media. Say your LinkedIn, you want to be posting once a day at 9 o'clock in the morning for all week. You can set up all of those posts and it'll just happen automatically. So it's a really handy system. I know some of you are thinking, like, where am I going to find all of this content? So I'm going to just jump ahead really quickly to something that I do to keep track of content. Now, this isn't a pretty page, but you can see that this is something, and I call this evergreen content. So it's something that I can just go to, and if I find something that, some of these interviews that are on here have, I did those last year, and they are, they're still evergreen. They're still talking about, what I believe in for technology, that kind of thing. And so I just cut and paste those and put them directly into my social media. You'll see here that I have, this one doesn't work because it's over 171 characters for Twitter, but I actually have a count on the side so I can have a sense of how long these are. And nice thing about Hootsuite is if they're too long, like most of the times they're too long because the link is too long, not necessarily your words. If your link is long, Hootsuite will actually shorten it for you. And so that gives you an opportunity to get a few more words out there. So that's kind of the way that I do it. And then you can just have, when I was used to do it for one story, I would have probably about 200, 300 different tweets that were just sort of evergreen that can just go out whenever, and I could use them on week 1 and then again in week 3 at a different time of day and then again on week 5. And they would just continuously go out, and they'd be, a lot of the times tweets are really good too for LinkedIn, and potentially for Facebook as well. So that's how I used Hootsuite. Buffer is another company that does pretty much the same thing. It's just a little bit more robust, and a lot of the things that they do is more expensive. I believe that it's around $30 a month, or there's a free one for one platform, so that's great. Oh, look at this, $10 a month. But if you want to go into something bigger, it jumps up. Um, but really it's a way to it's just a little bit more robust. It's easier to use, it's a little bit more clean, and I know a lot of people use Buffer and absolutely love it. So it's another program that you can use. I actually personally don't use it, but I have a lot of people in my world who do, and really think that it's a great program just to send things out. And you can see here at the bottom all the different social media, different places that it posts to. So, it'd just be nice, when you're talking about doing your blog post, when you set up your blog post, you're going to put a photo on there, you're going to have a great title that's going to catch people, and then you can send it to these places, and don't only send it once. You can send it all, for the next 6 months, for the next year, if it's sort of evergreen content. So that's something to be thinking about, is reusing your content that you're creating in a way to get people back to your website. So again, I'm just going to jump and see if there are any questions. No, we're doing good. Hey, and don't be afraid, guys, to just like pop up a question, because we're all friends here, and probably if you're having a question, other people are too. So please do send one. I'm going to hop into a program that I really like. It's called Meet Edgar. And this is kind of a cool one. Now, this is expensive, but it's kind of the Cadillac of the social media strategy, I think. I tried it once. They give you 1 month for free, and I just fell in love. But basically, you can put your library and all the different things. So basically, this different, all your different tweets and or social media posts. The difference with Meet Edgar, it is mostly Twitter and Facebook, and so, but it is a way that you can. It's just so easy to use, and it's really clean. But it's like $79 American a month, so I couldn't help it. I was sucked in and paying for that personally because I just love it. But it's so easy to use and so just clean. It really, I really enjoy the way that it works. Um, so that's another way. Another cool thing about Meet Edgar is you can see over here in the feeds, I've actually chosen a few of my favorite uh, different blogs that come up. So like Mashable, I'm a huge fan of Inc.com. They just talk a lot about women entrepreneurs, about business, just about really positive and inspirational stories. And so I just bring those feeds directly in here, and I can say, I would like this to go out on my Twitter. The essential keys to making perfect sushi rice. I don't, that's not me. So I just reject that content. But it's just an easy way to be bringing in content and finding it in a really quick way. You still want to read it. You want to make sure that it's reflective of your company. You want to make sure that that's still going out and it speaks to who you are. But it is a very handy way of getting a great deal of content right away. And basically, I just, on my Sundays, I'll spend an hour just going through and finding out what kind of, what are sort of the articles that I want to be posting this week. So those are 3 different programs that I really like. And again, you'll see that a lot of these tweets are a little outdated because I'm now using Meet Edgar, and it's a really sweet program. So couple of different price points there, and all of them really do the same thing. It's just like I said, this one's sort of the Cadillac, I feel, and I just absolutely love it. But so those are kind of the different things that you can be doing to just save yourself some time weekly. Any questions about those so far? Okay, I am going to pop that down and head into something that I didn't talk about earlier, but something that's really interesting. So there are a ton of different time tracking programs out there, but this is one of my favorite. When we were with One Story, we would actually track our time here. So some of you are cringing right now saying, time tracking, give me a break. Like I've got, I do something for 2 minutes and I'm on to the next task and I do, that. So for me, I was like that. I was like, how do I possibly track my time? But it kind of got to the point where we had virtual employees all over the place. We just wanted to make sure not only were people putting their time, but how they were putting in their time. And Toggle is just a beautiful program for getting your entire team together. The cool thing about it too is that it really it gives you reports. And this was the thing that I started taking away. So when I first started tracking my time, I was like, this is craziness. I'm going to spend more time tracking my time than what I'm actually doing for work. But it makes it very easy to do. And I actually started getting a little bit addicted to it, where I wanted to know how I was spending my time. So in my mind, I'm like, oh, I'm just going to rip off a blog post. And the thing is that's, I don't ever rip off a blog post. Once I started actually looking at it, it generally takes me between an hour and a half to 3 hours every time. So it's not something I can just like pop off. And sometimes more. Sometimes it takes me longer and, sometimes shorter. So it was just something for me where I could actually see this is how I was spending my time. And I would start to be very strategic with it. So I had a couple of different tasks. Like part of my time was fundraising for the company. Another part of my time was the marketing and communications. And another part of my time was sales. And of course, sales is very, very important. So I wanted to move it so that sales were 50% of my time. The fundraising was 25, and then the other part, and then the marketing was 25%. And it really caused me to be able to thinking about my time and how I was spending it. It also was really handy for me for reports to say, here's how much time we put towards, for invoices, that sort of thing. And also to be looking at your employees' time and being like, hey, you spent 2 hours on social media. Let's move you on to Hootsuite, 2 hours a day on social media. Let's move you on to Hootsuite and see if we can, spend less time doing that. So it's a really just a handy tool. And Toggle's not the only one out there, but I just, as I was thinking about things that I wanted to share with you, this was one of them that this made such a huge difference in my business and the way that I personally spent my time and worked. It seems crazy to think about tracking every minute, but honestly, it was heavenly after a while because I could really see where I was wasting time, where I was spending time, what systems that could I automate better. All right, so let's come back here. No more questions. Come on, guys. I know you're out there. So I am going to now jump into, I'm going to move away from the social media management. And if there are any more questions about social media management, that's just an area for me that I think everybody's probably dealing with. But for me, it's something that I find just it's so time consuming, and this is a place where technology can really help. So if you want to come back to any questions about that, I'm more than happy to do so. So I'm going to jump into some of these ideas, like about either scheduling your employees or appointment, like actually scheduling meetings. Because I think this is just sort of an interesting way to be using technology that can just save so much time. Um, so one of the things too I also wanted to share is that we have a lot of really cool technology companies right here in Saskatchewan, and I'm guessing most people on this call are from Saskatchewan. So just like you, they are also small businesses really trying to make it. So if there's ever a chance for you to choose somebody who's Saskatchewan based, I'm a strong proponent of that. So this right here is actually called 7Shifts, and they are a scheduling software for restaurants. And so I know that can be used for a lot of different areas too, but basically this is for actually scheduling your employees. And they've got some pretty cool, like Boston Pizzas using them, and some really great case studies here. But here's my favorite part down at the bottom. They are in Second Avenue South, Saskatoon, Saskatchewan. So, I just wanted to take a couple of minutes just to point them out. And basically, all of these technology tools, most of them will give you a free trial to start and to give it a try, see if it's something that you want. Also, a majority of them use pricing systems that are monthly, and it's called subscription services. So this is something to be thinking about for your business too, that even though it's only, $6 a month, it does add up by the end of the year a little bit, not the $6 a month, but some of these do that are at $29 a month, $79 a month. It does add up. So when you're putting together your budget for any of these things, be considering, the entire year. And some will give you discounts if you buy the entire year at once. So that might be something to be considering. Ultimately, for me, the biggest thing is that the cost of the technology to do this should be saving you time and money. And if it isn't, then and just headaches. And so, there should be a balance between that cost of the technology and how much time and money it is saving you. All right, coming back to check for some questions. Ooh, does Toggle cost much? Let's go take a peek. I believe it is only, let's go look at their pricing. I think we were just on the $18 a month for ours. And actually, when I think about it, I think we're on the $9 per user per month, because it really didn't feel like it was a huge cost for our amount that we are getting out of it. So it's something that is definitely. Well, look at this. Basic plan for teams of 5 or fewer is always free. So, just something to think about and go take a look and see what works for you. For us, we had one of the most basic systems of it, and I honestly found it just so, so effective. No problem. So I think with 7 shifts is a good. The question is, would Toggle track your time on a particular software like 7 shifts? Now, this is an interesting question, because a lot of times when you're using these systems, they'll be integrated with each other, it's called. So you can actually bring in another program to be looking at, to make them work together. Now, 7 shifts, I believe, is actually more for proactive scheduling, where you actually can put on the schedule ahead of time, and then so that your employees can trade shifts and that sort of thing. But then you'd probably want to use Toggle as a separate tool. I doubt that they are integrated, but you just take a look on any of these pages. They'll often have at the bottom integrations, or third-party integrations, they're called. And that's when you can actually see these two softwares work together really well. And so that's something that, just as you're going forward and picking technology tools, it's one of those little things you can keep in your pocket, that if it says third-party integrations, go and look and see if there's other programs that you are using that it can work with. Because when you do a third-party integration, it just means it just slips right in and they work together, and it just makes it even easier for you. So that's basically, so those are two different programs. All right. So I'm going to jump into this one. This is another Saskatchewan company, and I really did want to pick them out too, because they're doing an excellent job. They've got all sorts of groups using them, like TCU, Scotia McLeod, London Drugs. That's fantastic. And all this is it's for scheduling. They tend to work in these industries: banking and financial, telecommunications, and retail, but it's sort of for scheduling appointments with your customers. So rather than, this is not for scheduling employees, this is for scheduling with people externally. So I wanted to bring them up as well, that they're a Saskatchewan program. You can see down here their research drive, Saskatoon, Saskatchewan. So I love that. But it looks like I couldn't find the price on here and what this looks like. So, it'd be worth just contacting them to schedule a call or a demo. But a lot of ways that these appointment scheduling programs work is they actually just sit right on your website. And so, if you want to schedule a massage, or you want to schedule a showing of a house, or you want to, schedule any of those types of things, instead of having that going back and forth through email or text, you can actually just send them right in your email. Hey, schedule your appointment right here, and there's no going back and forth. It goes directly to both of your calendars. So there's some really cool programs there. And this is another one that I wanted to show you. This is what a lot of the people in San Francisco are using, and it's free. If you have, and it just goes right on Gmail. And basically, the example I'm using is one of the fellows I used to book meetings with. I said, "Hey, I'm coming to San Francisco. Can we meet up?" And he would actually respond, and he'd say, "Sure, just book a time here." And I could actually go and say, Monday at 2 o'clock. I would click on that. We would both get a notification. One went to my inbox as well as my calendar. One went to his inbox as well as his calendar. Then it started showing on his calendar that he wasn't available to meet with other people during that time. It's very slick. It just runs right through, and it's free if you're using Gmail. So, this is another program. It's just something that, I've used as other people have had it installed. However, I haven't tried it myself yet. But this is another way to be, scheduling those appointments and meetings through email, and saving yourself some time. So it's slick to use from a user perspective, but I'm interested to see if someone actually implements it and sees how that looks. So here's another one. It's called Schedule Once. This is another big one. But basically it's, here's the pricing for this one. But it's booking, it just goes right on your website, and people can book their appointments. So, that's another thing. Another thing about Schedule Once, as I mentioned before, about the integrations, they have it right here. They're saying, hey, here are the different products that we work with. And so, they're working with almost every calendar program. They're working with, if you are using a CRM. And what a CRM is a client relationship management tool. And that's for if you want to be doing a lot of sales and keeping track of your potential clients, people that you've talked to and you're trying to move through your sales funnel, people that you've actually landed and they've become a client, or bought in your service, at which point you still want to keep the relationship with them. So that's what a CRM is. And if you're interested in talking more about that, I'm more than happy to talk about that as well. PayPal is an interesting thing here too. So say, for example, that you're asking people to book in for hair appointments, or for counseling, online counseling, or something like that. You can actually have them pay as they are booking their meeting. And so, you're kind of getting paid ahead of time, or, it triggers right after your meeting's done. And so that way, you have their credit card and payments. Sometimes when you're consulting, you're going through checks, you're waiting for a few days for people to, or, sometimes months for people to remit payment. So this is a way to kind of get around that and prevent that delay in payment, where if they pay by credit card for your time ahead of time, that's another the way to do that. So I'm going to come back and see if there are, oops, that's not what I want. No, that's not what I want either. I want this. Hold on here. Problem with having too much stuff open here. Ta-da, I got it. So, okay. What about other emails? Is there a function like this? So I'm not really familiar with like Outlook or Mac Mail. I'm sure a quick Google search would have that kind of response. A lot of times too, even if you're using like Outlook or Mac Mail, you're still using a Gmail calendar. So there might be ways of really making it work in your in your email piece. The entire function of these technology tools is to make it easier for you. So they're trying to make it as easy as possible to set up. They're trying to make it as easy as possible for you to use and to implement right away. So a lot of them have trainings, a lot of them have really good support. So, maybe do a quick, Google search about different scheduling systems for other email systems. And if you're having any problems implementing even some of the ones that I've shown you already, just send them a note, and their support team is usually like live. They'll go back and forth with you. They want you to use their system. So, okay, so CRMs, these are really, this is a huge area, and there are a lot of different things that you can be using for CRMs. So one of my very favorite ones, and again, just to remind people, this is the client or customer relationship management tool. So basically, this will make your sales system a lot more convenient. So for me, when I started using a CRM, it was just at the point where I was having nonstop conversations with people. I'd have two, three, four a day sales meetings, and then the next day it would start over. And so a lot of times it was really hard for me to keep track of, basically hundreds of people after a period of time and where they were on the sales system. So were they just a lead? Were they someone who was, just they were ready to go, but they were going back to the board for approval? They just needed me to follow up, like, just kind of pushing people through the different stages of not pushing, but, encouraging people and keeping track of the different stages of sales. So one of the ones, everybody in the world, and you'll see Salesforce everywhere. It's a huge, 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 huge program. A lot of different users. They've got integrations all over the place. For me, I tried Salesforce. I found it incredibly expensive and incredibly difficult to implement. It was too much of a system for what I needed. So for me, I'm not a proponent of Salesforce, but if you have a large team and you have a lot of different things going on in sales, like you say you have 5 salespeople all doing different things and wanting to keep track, Salesforce may be worth looking into. Another one that I fell in love with, I absolutely love this, is called Pipedrive. And it is just a beautiful system. I think it's $12 a user per month. So for me, I had myself and another salesperson on there. And basically, you can set it up how you want to, where at the beginning, for example, if I was emailing someone else, someone sent me an email, I'm interested in your product. When I was responding, I would put in the BCC my Pipedrive address, and it would automatically send that email to Pipedrive and attach it to the right file, which was already really fantastic because then my other salesperson could go back and look. Um, the question is, does Pipedrive store data in Canada? I'd say no, because they are an American company. That's a really good question too. I'll come back to what Pipedrive does, but I'm going to just stop and jump back to this question. Does Pipedrive store data in Canada? And a lot of the other systems that you're using are not going to be storing things in Canada. If it's important to your business, and I think it's going to be incredibly important to a lot of businesses in the future, where your data is being stored and what kind of laws and can people access that data. Some school divisions and such actually won't use American programs because they want everything in Canada. This will be an interesting question for the future of technology. As it is right now, a majority of systems that people are using even to build their technology are based in the United States. Heroku, Amazon, or they have places all over the place, but you can't really guarantee where your stuff is being stored in the cloud. And so, just a little bit of an insight on technology, that it's something that if it's important to you for things to be completely stored in Canada, contact the technology company, just send them a note and ask them, and they'll be quite upfront about it because a lot of them have built their systems and they'll know where things are going and where they're being stored. It's pretty rare to find a company that can say their system is completely Canadian based, but hopefully in the future we'll be seeing more of that, simply because then you can be more in control of where your data is being stored. So coming back to what Pipedrive does, basically it will walk you through the system. So for me, I would, if I had um, a, a, a piece of, a lead comes into me through email. I'm interested in using your service. I respond, great. Can we meet? And ideally I would have a place for them to set up a meeting directly in that email. But it would send everything to Pipedrive. Now, in the Pipedrive system, you go in there and it's just beautiful. It's almost like you can just pick a new lead. You can give them a name and it can say, just a lead, and then you can move it into first conversation has been had. And then you can move it over. You just, it's your mouse. You just pull it over into the next section where you're, ideally trying to make everybody go right through all of the sections of your sales pipeline. And so uh, they've said yes, but waiting on payment, that kind of thing. And you can actually set up what your particular sales pipeline looks like and show where people are on that pipeline. They also have really cool reports to say, here's how long it generally takes you to close a deal. Here's, you have got 5 or 10 rotting deals here. So either they're just not moving anywhere. So either do something to make them move or let them go. Don't spend any more energy on that. So Pipedrive I love Pipedrive in terms of a CRM. And if you have more than, what you can keep track of in your email in terms of different clients, then it's something that it's a really handy tool. So the next question is, do you see this working with multiple employees dealing with all of our customers? Yes, that's how we used it. Our other salesperson was in Toronto, and you could add 10 on there. And for me, or the salespeople, I could just go in and I would type a name, and it would show me, oh, that's Elizabeth's contact. I could send Elizabeth a note saying, hey, this person's also contacted the head office. Can you follow up with them, or, do you want someone else to take this on? Whatever the case is. And it's just a really, really great system. I love Pipedrive. I'm a huge fan. All right. Are there any other questions? We had a good run here. Really great questions. Yeah, no problem. All right. Let's see. Do I have any more goodies over here? Oh yeah. So this is just another one that I found that are basically just another appointment core. This is another way to just schedule these appointments. So again, different pricings, different systems, and a lot of things that you can really find for these, some of these things are going to be very specific to your industry. If you're doing real estate, there's probably like a whole line of products, from social media scheduling to CRM to the way that you show, schedule your appointments, to the way you show houses, to there's a whole lot of technology tools that are very specific to each and individual industry. And so some of these are very generic that you can use, and a lot of the ones I've showed you are quite generic, but ask around in your industry and find out what technologies are people using. And often, that's the best way to find something that really fits perfectly into your existing system. So, one of the things that, to come back to that is that existing system. So I just want to, I'm going to kind of start wrapping everything up here. And so please do get in any of your last minute questions. But, when you're talking about setting up any of these systems, a lot of people get really afraid. They're like, oh man, this seems like so much work. And, do I even, it's going to take me so long to set this up, am I going to get the return? A lot of times you don't know if you're going to get that return, but most of the time it's worth trying. And even if you're putting in your morning, to setting up a system, um, that's, it can actually save you so much time. Like, it can become like another employee. And that you don't have to pay, that you're paying $14 a month, or $39 a month, versus a couple $1,000s a month. And so it's something where putting those in place is you know is really important. So the very first thing is identifying what you need. Where are the pain points in your company that technology can help you save that time? So actually mapping it out and being like, where am I spending my time? And if you're doing that time tracking, it'll be fairly easy to see. Here is the thing that I'm doing repetitively daily. What can I do, or what technology tool can I put in place to save me time and money next time I do it? or for my next month and going forward. The second thing is when you're, coming up with a technology strategy, you're going to have to realize that some of your employees are going to be resistant. And so it's something too where oftentimes it's almost better to try it yourself, get a sense of it, and then make it happen. And if people are using it for even like 1, 2, 3 weeks, if you're making it consistent that people are coming back and they have to use it, they will use it. Give them the training that they need. A lot of these programs will actually have like video trainings available for you and your employees. So that's something that's really just an important thing to be thinking about, is just the how are you going to get entire team buy-in from what you're doing. And my recommendation is that you identify the issue and make sure everybody else sees the issue as well. You try out the technology yourself. If you're feeling like it's something that works, that will save you time and money, then you implement it with your team and you keep them using it. One of the things that, as a team that had a whole bunch of people spread across, Canada, a lot of conversations were happening through text, through private emails, through, sometimes even Facebook pages, like, hey, look at this, and people sending, Facebook emails. So our team implemented, we had a program called Slack, or a Basecamp was another one you can use, that are, similar but different, just to communicate and keep all of our stuff in one place. So it wasn't, hey, didn't I tell you to do that 2 weeks ago? And you have to search through email and that kind of stuff. It's like you just search and you're like, yes, I did. This needs to be done. So there's just things like that you can be using. So anyway, it's really, but in our team, nobody wanted to use it because we kept going back and reverting to text. And so when people would go back to text, you say, nope, take that please to Slack. And then within, a month, everybody just went to Slack. It's just what you use rather than text. And so it can take some time to implement. It can be scary for people, but it saves so much time and money and kept all of our information in one place so future employees could be seeing what that is. So there was something there that was just an important tool for us. So if you, as the leader of your company, the one that was analogous to Basecamp is called Slack, and it's kind of for teams everywhere to be communicating with each other. It's also a very good program and very, very used in the technology space, simply because it keeps all your documents in one place. It keeps your conversations in one place, and the entire team can view and learn from it at the same time. Yeah, it's called Slack. So another question that came up was, besides Inc.com, do you have any other content-rich sites that you use and would recommend? Oh yeah, no problem, Kathleen. I think for me, there's a lot of sites that I like, and it's really about I like looking for something that's industry specific. So if you're in real estate, there's probably a couple sites that just like show great homes, or funny, $1 million homes, or funny home sale signs, things like that. So it's really about looking for things that are industry specific. For me, I speak a lot about female entrepreneurs, technology entrepreneurship, just consulting, all that kind of stuff. And I like to throw in a little bit of fun. So I go to Mashable. I find Mashable sometimes I end up rejecting a lot of their content just because it doesn't speak to me. But there's some funny titles and some things that are there. Another place that I like is Life Hacks. They've always got kind of little tidbits here and there of, here's how you do this. Here's why wine costs this much money. Here's why, here's what this new technology looks like. Because I'm in technology too, a lot of the times I go to TechCrunch. I've got, I take a look at that feed all the time. If you're more into news and kind of want to be doing current events, I know The Guardian and New York Times are, those are kind of tend to be a little bit more left, but there's also news that is right, that's out there. Those are really good sites. Of course, CBC and the Canadian one, CTV. It just really depends on what you're looking for. And again, too, if you're, like, hey, I want to find something that's industry specific, that I should be following and getting content from, just do a search. The top 10 real estate blogs, just whatever the case is, and Google will show you the way. So yeah, so there's a lot of different places. Yeah, no problem. All right, well, we're getting close to the end of the hour. I've got time for one more question if we have one more, and if not, I'll start to wrap up. All right, well, no one's taping, so I'm gonna start to sum up. So basically for me, as I said in the beginning, technology is a way to help you do something really big, but you don't have to take all of your personal energy doing it. It makes it easier for your team to communicate. It makes you easier to track things and make decisions and real business decisions. Um, and almost anything that you're going to be doing in your business, whether it's taking money, scheduling appointments, anything that you're looking at that's taking you time and you're doing it repetitively daily, it's really definitely worth looking at technology tools, just basically to save you time and money, to get your team communicating better, to really track how much money and how much time you're spending on each of these things. And, it's really sometimes just about breaking out your company and here's what your sales pipeline looks like, or here's what your customer journey looks like, and sometimes trying to pick technology tools that can just make that a lot smoother. And so it's really, up to you to evaluate your own company and find those places that you can, save money and save time. But it's, and then just do some Google searching, what kind of programs are out there. And pretty much if you're having this problem and you want to solve this problem, I can almost guarantee the technology exists to do it, to solve that problem. There are tons of startups out there who have experienced an issue and are now trying to solve it. So it's rare that you can't find something to completely to make things better. And if you're interested too, I am consulting as well, and more than happy to answer specific questions that you may have, or help you set up a system. So I'm also going to be at the Women Entrepreneurs Conference, and there's still early bird tickets available. And I'm going to be speaking about setting up your email systems so that you can use technology tools, be thinking about how your customer is going to be interacting with them so that you can give them some really good content that makes them want to open your emails and keep a relationship with you. So your email almost becomes like another salesperson on your team, and is hopefully converting people to not only liking you more but also becoming stronger, spending more clients and customers. So if you're interested, get your ticket to the conference. It'll be a really good one, and I know there's tons of people talking about technology and different ways that you can use it and make it less scary. And I think that's about all I have to share. So I don't know, women entrepreneurs, are you gonna sum everything up, or is this just it? Oh, we got a comment saying always a great conference. And yeah, I'm looking forward to it. So, okay, well, I am going to end the event. And if there's any other comments or questions, I noticed that Kathleen Peterson is taping. Oh, thanks, Katrina. This has been great. Yes, no problem. Thank you. I enjoy it, and I'm passionate about technology and passionate about business and small business and the ways that it can help. And hopefully you'll be able to take some of these tips and use them. Oh, there's a whole bunch of people typing now. This is exciting. All right, there, thank yous. Okay, have a great rest of your day. Don't walk away and then never do anything about this. Maybe spend an hour or two this afternoon and try to identify what kind of tools you want to use and trying to implement them. Okay, have a good day, everybody.
Katrina, just before you end there. Katrina, just before you end there.
Yeah.
We just wanted to do a thank you. And I still hear an echo. Could we maybe get your mic popped off for, Okay. I'd like to give a huge thank you to Katrina for taking the time to share her insights into business technology and how it can help you work more efficiently, find more customers, and save money while using it. We truly appreciate your time and all the information that was given today. And just a reminder again that Katrina will be presenting at our conference, and we do encourage you to buy early bird tickets on our website today. I also want to say thank you to everyone that was able to join us on this webinar. We have another webinar coming up Jazz up your social media with free tools. It's on April 20th, and our presenter is Heather Pinay from Authentically Business and Life Solutions. So please check your emails or visit our website to register. Bye, everyone, and have a great afternoon.